Welcome to Achieving a Marriage Mindset. My name is Atiya, and I am the founder of the Marriage Tree, where we help men, women, and couples discover their own truth for a better marriage and relationship. In today's message, I would like to share with you 7 mindset shifts that you can make to help save your marriage. In Hermetic philosophy, there are 7 universal principles in the universe by which everything in existence is governed and brought into exquisite balance or harmony. Now, 3 of these laws are what is called immutable, meaning that they are absolute or unchanging. The immutable laws have been and will always be. Then you have the mutable laws, or those that are considered to be transitory and transcendent. Now, these 4 laws, although they can be used to create an ideal reality, they still govern your existence, and therefore it makes no sense to attempt to defy them. The ultimate aim would be to master all 7 laws of the universe and learn to transcend those that are mutable or transitory. And I want you to be able to understand how to take these 7 laws and create an ideal marriage for yourself. But you have to understand these particular laws and how they work first. So what I want to do at this point very quickly is to briefly outline these 7 laws. Now, the first law is called the law of mentalism. This is an immutable law. And this particular one states that all things, everything, everywhere comes from one source. It also states that all things everywhere, meaning everything, everywhere, on every level, are subordinate to this omnipotent universal mind. Now, the second law is called the law of correspondence. It too is an immutable law. And this one states that there is harmony between body, mind, and spirit. And as it is above, so it is below. And as it is below, so it is above, because all things come from one source. And this also includes you, and this includes your partner. The third law is called the law of vibration. It's the third of the immutable laws. And it states that everything in the universe is pure energy in motion, vibrating at different frequencies. And the law of attraction is based on this particular universal principle. The experiences we have with our 5 physical senses are conducted through these vibrations. The same is true for the mental realm as well. Our emotions are vibrations, and thought carries weight. Love is the highest and most subtle vibration in the universe, while hate and fear is the densest and most base. However, it is possible to control your mental vibrations at will. The fourth law is the law of polarity, and it is the first of the mutable laws. And this particular one states that everything comes in pairs. Everything has 2 sides, everything is dual, and everything has an opposite. It also states that things that appear as opposites are actually 2 extremes of the same thing, just presented in varying degrees. For example, hot, cold, light, dark, peace and war, love and hate, good and evil, yes and no, and so forth. And to, I guess, paint a better picture, you can look at the coin, where a coin has a heads and it has a tails. It's still one coin, it just has 2 sides. So that might also help to put it into perspective a little better. But with this law, and by practicing the art and science of polarization, you can actually transform your thoughts from one degree to another by simply raising your vibrations. Now, the 5th law is called the law of rhythm. It's also a mutable law, and it states that everything flows in and out, backwards and forwards. In other words, the pendulum swings in everything almost unnoticeably. And it's like the cycles of life. So to transcend the swing of the pendulum and the negotiation between backwards and forwards, you must become aware of the subtle start of the backward motion. And when you feel the law at work drawing you back, instead of being fearful or discouraged, know that you are one with the omnipotent universal mind, where nothing is impossible. And that's all you have to do is stay focused and remain positive no matter how far back this law pulls you. Your steadfastness and perseverance will be rewarded. And as you elevate your vibrations and move more into your higher self, the backward movement becomes less negative. And this is something you want to pay attention to in terms of marriage and relationship. Now, the sixth law is the law of cause and effect. It's also a mutable law, and it states that every effect you see in the external and physical world and environment around you has its cause in the origin of your internal or mental world. Your thoughts, your words, and actions set effects in motion and actually materializes over time. You can transcend this law and master your destiny and reality by mastering your mind. And the seventh law is called the law of gender. Now, this particular law states that everything and everyone contains both masculine and feminine elements. And the feminine qualities are love, patience, intuition, gentleness. And the masculine qualities are energy, self reliance, logic, and intellect. Now, the qualities of a man are latent in a woman, and the qualities of a woman are latent in a man. Now, those are the seven laws in brief, but there are two laws that I would like to draw reference to in this particular message, and that is the law of polarity and the law of rhythm. And I want to remind you that the law of polarity, which is a mutable law, it states that everything comes in pairs, everything has two sides, everything is dual, and everything has an opposite. And the law of rhythm, which is also a mutable law, it states that everything flows in and out, backwards and forward. So these two laws are very important in terms of making mindset shifts. Relationships are not built on the I paradigm. They are built and maintained on the we, us, and ours paradigm. And not grasping this very important ideal, particularly in married life, can and will result in the breakdown of your relationship. See, when two people come together, often they come together by choice and for the benefit of the whole. There is at no time in a marital relationship where one entity becomes less than or more important than the whole. And while each individual member of a team is an important part of that team, decisions made are to be made for the collective health of everyone involved. So if an area or member is suffering, it is critical to strengthen that component. Otherwise, the entire team suffers. And it is similar to one of the systems in the body being out of whack. If you have one system out of whack, the other systems must compensate for the weakness in one system or area of the body. Thus, the weakness in one will impact the health of all others. Ideally, it is better to strengthen the area of weakness as opposed to discarding the area that is weak. Like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Because if you do away with it, there will be a continual compensation needed unless and until what was discarded is replaced. Now, I want to explain something to you. The earth itself has a wobble, and the divine or omnipotent universal mind places a law regulating motion in place to compensate for the wobble of the earth. Otherwise, it will lose its balance and leave its orbit. The earth rotates on an axis at 1,037 and a third miles per hour. It revolves around the sun, which is the source of light and life. And I want you to pay attention to that. An axis is the central point of a two-dimensional body, or that central or principal structure. It is the longitudinal support upon which something is arranged. Now, in the marriage dynamic, one can experience two principles readily at work as a couple move toward making the idea of balance, oneness, and harmony a tangible reality in their marriage. The ideal or paradigm of marriage is established on the principles of everything is created in pairs and everything flows in and out and backwards and forwards. So, in order to achieve and maintain exquisite balance, the motion of each body in the marriage must move in a way to compensate for each other and ultimately move beyond or transcend an individual or singular mindset and move to a higher expression of oneness, which is a direct reflection of how the omnipotent universal mind operates. So, in order to really have a successful and a healthy and a balanced marriage, in order to achieve that reality, each person in the marriage must be a strength to one another in each other's weaknesses so that they're able to move beyond and transcend what would be a wobble or challenges in two people becoming one. You have to change a mindset, and the only way to change the mindset is you're going to have to move from thinking singularly or about yourself and begin to also think about your mate and to look at the whole in terms of making sure the whole is healthy. And in order for the whole to be healthy, we know that each individual part has to be healthy. And so, in one's weakness, the other will be the strength, if that makes any sense. Now, the law of polarity, which is the fourth law of the seven universal laws and the first of the mutable laws, in the context of marriage, the ability to master the art and science of polarization is a foundational principle necessary to build a successful relationship and the first to challenge a marriage. To overstep the boundaries that the law of polarity presents, a couple must first understand that the principle of duality, while it may appear to be very real in their lives, only exists in the physical and mental realms and not in the spiritual realm where all is one. Now, the omnipotent universal mind is above the opposites, and thus the ultimate aim of marriage is to become one. However, to reach that end, or shall I say beginning, is to rise above emotion. Emotion is energy in motion, but in order to reach that end, or like I said, to start that beginning, you have to be able to rise above emotion into the thinking of one. In the marriage mindset, the ultimate aim is oneness. Therefore, by placing the fulcrum of thought on the all-powerful, all-knowing, and their combined power and knowledge as a couple or one entity, therein is the key to transcending the law of polarity. Now, the law of rhythm, which is the fifth law of the seven universal laws and the second of the mutable laws, in the context of marriage, the ability to master retrograde motion by the degree of what flows in and out is also key to a successful and lasting relationship. Balanced flow of the positive and negative charge, or of yin and yang energy, is what creates harmony. It's actually what creates harmony and is directly relative to the degree or position of both bodies in motion within the marriage. In the marriage mindset, the aim is also harmony. Therefore, by becoming more aware of the subtle start of backward or retrograde motion in the marriage, by being conscious of your collective positions as well as the positions of external bodies, and by positioning the mind toward achieving a harmonic outcome and staying positive or a state of positivity, the impact of negative forces that come against the relationship is neutralized and balances out, and is actually balanced out by the couple repositioning themselves in unity toward an even greater unified mind and movement in order to compensate for any forces that come against the union. So both people that make up the couple in the marriage must be willing to master these two mutable laws of the universe to achieve the rewards that marriage offers. And more importantly, both laws require the entities. In other words, when I say entities, I mean you and your mate. Both of these laws require that you and your mate adapt to changing conditions, because marriage is organic and is a fundamental necessity to a thriving universe. And there is a mindset that is characteristic of marriage and goes along with success in the marriage dynamic, and that's important to understand. So, this is what a marriage mindset looks like. It's complementary, it's a win win attitude, and it's a mindset where the couple think in terms of its mate as a component, and it's strength and opportunity based. I want to repeat that. The characteristics of a marriage mindset is it's a mind that's complementary, meaning not complimentary meaning oh you look good, but it balances out the other, it enhances. It's one where there's a win-win attitude, and it's one where the person in the relationship think in terms of its mate as a component, meaning a part of the team, and it's strength and opportunity based. Now, the characteristics of a single mindset in marriage is competitive. It's a win-lose attitude. You think in terms of your mate as your opponent and not as a member of your team. It's weakness and threats based. And I know this is a mouthful, but if you can master those two laws in particularly, you can really help your marriage to succeed, and you can actually save your marriage. So for more information on the law of polarity, please feel free to read my book, The Beauty of Being Free. And to manifest the love of your life through the power of courtship, please feel free to read my book, Purposeful Dating. Both books are very helpful in terms of helping you to um, connect with the right person and also to maintain a healthy and stable relationship. I would like to thank you for taking this time to listen to this particular message, Achieving a Marriage Mindset. And I hope that these 7 mindset shifts or universal laws, understanding these universal laws, will help you in your relationship and help it to become stronger. And if you're experiencing some difficulty, it is my hope and encouragement that you can use this information to save your relationship and your marriage. So until next time, have a wonderful day. Thank you.